there have been many different video game franchises around out the world, old, but none of them have become more iconic than Super Mario. Ever since its beginnings back in 1986, it's the little plumber and its brother Luigi. They have become a powerful force awesome in the video game industry and media in general. And they even tried to have their own feature films. There was the 1990s in which I still not seen, but I've heard it was definitely a low point in their career. But then there was the 2023 animated feature released by Illumination. And while I don't think that it's one of the studio's best works, I honestly think it works well for the type of film it needs to be. A charming, being fun, crowdly is that's meant and to be more for the fans, and then give them everything they want for a Mario movie. And now a few years later, it only makes sense that they'd make a sequel to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the franchise with the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Now going in, I was not going to go in and expect this to be a masterpiece. These are like best movie of the year. Yeah, I was just going to cut. In fact, I was saying that I was not. That one thing I was going to do before watching this film was to not go into the mindset of a critic. Okay, especially since so far they've been merciless as to how much they dislike this film. I honestly think this one and its predecessor are two films that are less like as needed to be reviewed from a critic's perspective and more from a casual viewer or a Mario fan's perspective. Well, I may not be a huge Mario fan, but I class as a casual viewer. So I decided to go over a more casual viewer perspective more than a critical perspective. Active for this. And I'm not gonna lie, I had an absolute blast with this feature. I will get at the criticisms out of the way because, as I do understand, and most of the criticisms critics have with this movie, but man, that didn't change the fact that when this film did something right, it did amazing. And even if it won't end up as my favourite film of the year, it'll easily turn out to be one of my favourite experiences watching a movie this year. Anyway, let's get those criticisms out of the way. Hey, now, our story was never the first film's strongest aspect. In fact, I think I could easily call it its weakest. Okay, and I will give credit that and while the story for this film is not great, in fact, it's pretty simple. There was a bit of improvement, but it wasn't much. What the story is but I'll just try it. Is for Pete and Toe to try and find this missing incest as Rosalina. Know what Mario, Luigi, and she us protect X the mushroom in kingdom and he imprisoned Bowser from his son about Bowser Jr. as he has planned and to free his father, but and use Rosalina's power were to destroy the entire galaxy. I think it's. I know no one came in expecting this to have an amazing story, and yeah, on paper, the story is not really that good. It honestly feels quite basic for or the type of movie it's supposed to be. Also, this since this film was released, it was released in the 40th anniversary of Super Mario. It does make sense, as the film would want to put in a lot of references is to all the different Mario games. Aims, aims, aims. Now this didn't bother for me too much. In fact, it bothered me a lot less than I thought it would, as I was still able to focus on the movie, without all the references that were happening. But I do understand why these references would be a problem for anyone that's trying and what watch this movie because as they are constant, then Anne can be seen in as a great distraction throughout. Oh, again, it didn't bother me personally, but I can understand why this would bother anyone else. But then we come to the film's biggest disappointment, and that is the princess of the galaxy, Rosalina. Now I've never played a Super Mario Galaxy, but from what I've heard have both it and its sequel, Super Mario Galaxy 2, are considered to be two of the best as Mario games, and Rosalina is a good example as to why. I will say I do understand what and why she became a fan favorite, and she did have the potential to be an interesting character. That opening scene introducing her with the action sequence was really cool. Or she has an interesting backstory that connects really well to Peach. And Brie Larson does deliver a great performance. However, for the most part, she's just a damsel in distress, as that needs to be saved. And seeing as how they upgraded each in the last film and this one to be more than that, the fact that he reverted to that with Rosalina, I'm not gonna lie, I did find that to be really disappointing. Okay, now I've got my main criticisms out of the way. Hey, now we can get into the positives. I will say that the pacing in this film is a lot better than it was in the first film. It's not a huge improvement or anything, but I didn't feel like the feature was rushing itself of as much as the first movie did. It still managed to keep at a solid pace while not feeling too fast, but not feeling too slow either. Also, so one of the film's biggest strengths for me would easily be the dynamics and the character mix of the characters. So, in fact, I think with the exception of Rosalina, the characters are the best thing to come out of this feature. This is mainly shown with some of the characters from the first film. And I can point to 3 examples. The first which is the title character himself, Mario. He does have a very solid arc. I can defeat each. While he's mainly shown as the hero that needs to save the day, he does have an interesting arc of whatever he should confess his feet, eating the Pete. As what Alice decided he should be able to trust Bowser. So no matter how many times the Turtles tries to tell him that he's changed, but Mario doesn't believe it. It wasn't in a huge arc or anything, but I do like how they focus a lot more on that. Also, I do feel like Chris Pratt has gone really comfortable in the role now. I understand that it was a really controversial casting choice from the last film and was announced. But I have seen many people grow to like the voice, and I would agree. In fact, I think he did a better job in this one than he did in the first. Another character that was given a huge improvement here was Peach, which is not surprising because he was one of the best characters in the first film. In this one, the feature goes more into her backstory, where he tries to wonder where she actually originally came from, and before she ended up in the Mushroom Kingdom, and may find that at the quest to find the Princess Rosalina, there would be a lot more personal for her than she'd first expect. And then there's Bowser, another character that was done really well. I love how his time being imprisoned in the Mushroom Kingdom, the mascot was not fully reformed per se, but softened up by a little bit. Where he even tries to create a trace, but it's with Mario and Luigi. When he reunites with his son Bowser Jr., he is put in a tough situation whether to return to his villainous self. Of all continuing expanding his friend and shit with Mario and Luigi to fully redeem himself. Also like the first from Jack Black was easily the stand-up performance. He was amazing in this. And when I'm talking about Bowser, I might as well talk about his son and the main villain of the feature, Bowser Jr. And I will say he's a really good antagonist. Without getting into spoilers, his relationship with Bowser to his father is done really well, and he does do a good job to show himself as a strong threat to the galaxy, where he wants to continue his father's evil plan, and with his father by his side. As for some of the other characters, as well, while Luigi and Toad's aren't as huge as the other characters, so I do think they were handled really well. I especially like how Luigi was treated more as Mario's wingman, and to help Mario with his feelings towards Peach. And who didn't have a lot to do compared to the first one, was still a solid and enjoyable character that I was able to give some fun moments. And then there was the new dinosaur that joined Oinsmart, Mario and Luigi on their journey, Yoshi. And first of all, oh my gosh, this guy is so cute. Seriously, this guy is just adorable throughout the entire feature. He's probably my favourite character. And whenever he's on screen and he's doing something just cute, is adorable, I just fell in love with him. But you know what I found out to be the most surprising thing about him is his actor, which is no other than Donald Glover. I remember when that was first announced. I was shocked. Like, really? Out of all the characters, out of all the actors that they could have picked, they went for Donald Glover. But it was a huge surprise. But I did think that he did do a really really good job, and he was kind of unrecognisable in this feat. Each are offering a really cute and adorable performance, which, yeah, it's not going to be his best performance he's ever done, but it's still really well done, regardless. Also, the film has some really good humor. I was surprised to find myself constantly laughing and thinking at many of the jokes in the feature, whether it be any of the cute moments with Yoshi. Oh, she or when it get as in Bowser, I was surprised when he had so many funny moments. And that's the scene where he could become of the selected this be having the asking him about if he has a love, and he took also about how Pete each left him at the altar and film, and it's made even funnier that we had an instrumental of Pete each is playing in the background. The only thing that could have made that scene even funnier if he went and sing in a reprise of that song on with a few different lyrics, and that would automatically become the funniest moment of the year. Yeah. So yeah, the comedy in this film is surprisingly great. But now we get into what I consider to be the film's best aspect, and that is the animation. So while I didn't think the first one was my favourite film from Illumination, it was easily my favourite looking movie. Only to be dethroned by this one. And yeah, this movie absolutely looks gorgeous. And that's mainly shown with the Galaxy. As this is called the Super Mario Galaxy movie, the feature explores many different worlds and has a lot more detail to make each one stand out. And it doesn't matter if the world has a long time to be seen or a very short term. There are some worlds that can be really creative, whether it be either the gateway, and it gives transport to every single planet in the galaxy. All plan and it Bowser, which I'm not gonna lie is quite awesome. But the true highlights of the animation and what makes this film a spectacle to watch are the action scenes. Whenever it gets into an exciting or intense moment, that's when the animation steps up to make some incredible moments that are extremely intense, and all of them are exciting as they all lead up to an incredible, intense, and thrilling IMAX that I'm sure will please almost every Mario fan. And I'll also say that before or wrapping this out, that the score by Brian Tyler was already a really good trait from the first movie, but he went to the next level with this, is where he was able to deliver a great musical score, or that did feel like a video game come to life in the best way possible. But yes, as I'm well aware that the Super Mario Galaxy movie is not going to be seen as movie of the year, or even among one of the best of the year. However, that doesn't change the fact that I had a fantastic time with this. The feature action story, or and Rosalina, it more than makes up all with some beautiful animation, showed great action, and an incredible score, or likable characters, to fun comedy. The it adds some strong on voice acting throughout. Often what will probably end up as one of the most enjoyable experiences of the year. Yeah. Now this movie is not for everyone. It's not the kind of film where you're gonna go looking this with a critical eye, expecting this to be a masterpiece. This is mainly made for huge die-hard Mario fans and kids. It's all audiences just looking for a fun, entertaining feature. And if you fit into any three of those categories, then you're gonna have an absolute blast. Us with this feature. I definitely had fun with the first film, but I can easily say that Galaxy was a huge improvement over that one, and that's why I'm giving this film a solid 8 out of 10. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!